Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. I'm Veronica with Authorized Back and Sew in Fresno, California. And we have a special guest again today that we've had before. And she was so wildly popular that I thought, oh my goodness, she told me about this one project that she really wanted to share, and it was just too much for our last one that we did. So I thought, oh my gosh, we have to have her back. So I'm excited. I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to her today. Her name is Ashley, and she is with Floriani. And this is going to be a great thing for you quilters out there. Last time we talked a lot about embroidery, and now we have some great information on some quilting technique that is just sweeping the nation right now. So we're going to go ahead and bring on Ashley.
Hey, everyone. Hey.
How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And I want to tell you, you were so popular last time. Everybody just loved the education that you gave them. And they loved also something that was really popular was something else we'll be showing on today too. But I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about this because I have so many people coming in my store that are doing a lot of traveling now. And they love taking what you're going to talk about on the road with them. It's something they can take on the road with them when they don't have their sewing machine. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely. Oh,
by the way, we're giving away a prize, right? What prize are we giving away?
The same.
The same?
Mm-hmm.
We're giving away. Oh, really?
We got 2 of those, yes.
Where's my scissor set?
Oh, my goodness.
I have to. Do you have the scissor set? Oh, wait. Ashley, you have the scissor set. Okay. We're giving away another scissor set. How exciting. Okay. So in that scissor set, can you unzip that, Ashley?
Okay. So I'm going to unzip mine, but I haven't put all of the pieces back in here. So I'm missing a few things.
But they're because you use them.
Of course, because I use them. That's the problem.
We're giving away it's worth $140. It's on our website for sale for $80. But if you type in thumbs up, no emojis, thumbs up in our comments, you will have the chance to win those. And last week or 2 weeks ago, Miss Mary Tucker won that. So she is already loving it, and we're excited to give away another one.
Awesome.
So
yes.
Please share this with your friends because a lot of people have been sharing with their friends, and like our audience is growing, and that's how it will grow. And again, we just have such great information. Oh, thank you, Lorraine. We actually do have one in our store away, and mine is full because it's brand new. And oops. That's not, I think it's supposed to keep the scissors from rusting.
Proof.
I'm not sure.
Proof that it's new.
Proof that it's new. Okay. So anyway, yes, so it has amazing scissors. It has all the tools you need for your sewing and your embroidery and your quilting, because that stiletto is really great for quilting. Excellent. Kind of gives you like that third finger and maybe prevents you from running over your finger. I know a few of you who have. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure you put in the comments thumbs up, and then that way you have an opportunity to win this. Okay? Ashley, what do you think? Do you think we should get going?
Absolutely. Let's get rolling here.
Okay.
So today we're going to talk about English paper piecing. And I know I say English paper piecing, and some of you out there have already rolled your eyes and you are like totally tuning me out. But the thing about English paper piecing is it is making a huge comeback. And you don't have to do English paper piecing the way that your grandmother may have done it years ago. You don't even necessarily have to do English paper piecing maybe the way you learned how to do it some time ago. There are lots of great ways to do it and make it modern, so you're not necessarily tied to a whole bunch of hand sewing. Because to me, that is not my game at all. If I can avoid hand sewing, I avoid it. And that's at pretty much all costs. Mending included. Yeah, my husband's pretty much on his own for that. But anyway, English paper piecing. So lots of times we think about really traditional looking things like this little mini grandmother's flower garden placemat that I have here. I guess it's not a mini placemat. But you know, we're talking about hexagons or other traditionally done shapes. How do we make these in a modern way that saves us some time and some frustration and takes out some of that hand sewing in the process? So to do this technique, there are a few supplies that I like to gather up from my quilting collection of stuff, my Quilter Select stuff. I am going to need a glue stick. So these are our Quilter Select glue sticks. And to get started, I am actually going to cut out my hexagons from some Print and Piece Fuse Light. So this is our partially water soluble but fusible foundation paper from Quilters Select. If you're a machine embroiderer and you're familiar with Stitch and Wash from Floriani, this is very similar to Stitch and Wash, except it has a little bit higher fiber count to it. So it has the stiffness that we want in order to do our English paper piecing. And you're not limited to just doing hexagons or whatever. You can cut this stuff whatever way makes the most sense for you. Do you have, you know, a template that you're going to use for your quilt that's got English paper piecing in it? You can take your template, put it down, trace it out, and then, you know, cut a 1/4 inch inside or 3/8, depending on what the seam allowance is on it, you know, to get that paper size. And sometimes you can even buy windowed templates that have that little center already cut out to them. So it's just the right size. So feel free to go ahead and use those templates you've got to cut this down. Not feeling templates, you can run it through your printer because it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet. Print that pattern right on there, trim it out with your scissors, your rotary cutter, etc., those kinds of things. Or you know what would be really quick and easy? Stick it down to the sticky mat for your scan and cut and let your scan and cut do all the work for you. This will cut really nice and cleanly with your scan and cut. I like a low tack mat and just my nice sharp fine point blade in order to cut this. So we are going to cut this out into our hexagon shapes. So I have some hexagons already cut here, and then I'm going to explain to you how I'm going to put all of this together. So let me swap cameras here so you can see things a little bit closer up, which means I have to hit the right button in order to make that happen. Yeah, in the last couple weeks, I have not managed to learn where the buttons are. Sorry about that. So here we go, close at hand, so it's a little bit easier to see. So I've got my Print and Piece Fuse Light. I've already pre-cut it to my hexagon shape. That side right there, hopefully that little bit of glimmer shiny is showing up on there. That is the fusible side of this. So I went ahead and pre-cut some hexagons just to make the process a little bit faster. You are going to need a pressing surface of some kind. I'm just going to pull over my tiny little wool pressing mat here. We're not going to press on top of our mat, but we're going to have our mat as our background. You would line this up in the middle, and then you would take your iron and you would press this for roughly 5 seconds. Medium temperature, dry iron. Make sure it's dry because we don't want to start to inadvertently melt our Print and Piece Fuse Light before we've actually gotten to use it. After you've got this fused and ready to go, we are going to use the glue stick in order to turn our edges to the back. Now, I love that I can take this with me wherever I go. I don't need any extra tools or supplies. I don't even necessarily have to have scissors that TSA might take away if I was flying with them. So with my glue stick here, you'll notice this glue stick is neon yellow. So you can see it on pretty much every color fabric under the sun, except maybe neon yellow. But in the 5 years I've been doing this, nobody has yet to tell me that they've got a neon yellow project that they need to glue together. It is fabric glue, so it's designed to stick to fabric. It'll also stick to my Print and Piece Fuse Light here just fine. And we are just going to run a little line of that right along the edge of that Print and Piece Fuse Light. It's kind of hard to see here, but I did extend it out onto my fabric because our next step now is we are going to fold that excess fabric back behind here. And then we're just going to work our way around this particular hexagon. Now, you could do this for any shape out there. You're just going to, glue and then fold back. It does take a little bit of practice to get the feel for the print and piece fuse light. So cut yourself out some hexagons or another shape of preference and give some trials before you dive into that entire English paper piece quilt. Maybe you're just getting started on something that's like partially foundation piece. I know Queen of Hearts from Tulip Pink gets started soon-ish. That's partially, paper piece or partially English paper piece, partially traditionally pieced, but there we go. I have managed to turn back all of the sides on my hexagon there, and now I'm ready to attach this to my project. Before we go ahead and put this into a project, though, I want to share with you a couple of other things that are going to be really helpful in making your English paper piecing a complete success. So some of those other things that you are going to probably want as you're getting into this, not only your glue stick, your print and piece fuse light, but you're going to need probably a rotary mat of some kind and at least a couple of rulers. This is the brand new 9x12 mat from Quilter Select. If you've not seen these before, they are dark gray on one side, light gray on the other. And yep, that's what the background is. I've got another mat sitting down here. These have numbers going in left to right, right to left, top to bottom, bottom to top. So they work for our left-handed people and our right-handed people without anyone having to count backwards and find those particular, numbers that they need and put their finger there and count again to make sure that, you've got that right size piece. And what I love about this nice small one is this can sit right next to me as I'm working on things. Maybe I have fabric that I'm fussy cutting out to make those shapes. So it's not going to take up a lot of space. I could even maybe put this on top of my larger wool pressing mat if I was working, close at hand to, fusing things and have it right there. So in combination with the mat, you're going to need some kinds of rulers. For English paper piecing, my 2.5-inch square lots of times is my go-to ruler. Super small, efficient for making all of those small shapes, possibly cutting off extra edges if you're making your own templates, etc. And you know what? I have to go back to the other camera because I have to share something with you. Because if you've never used a Quilter Select mat and ruler, even just the rulers, there is something magical about these that just makes it so wonderful. So we'll go ahead and stick with the mat I've already got on the table here. And let me get some fabric here real quick. Let's see. I'm just going to slice off a little bit of this so that way I don't have quite so much to contend with. All right. So you know how a traditional ruler like slippy slides all over your fabric when you're doing something and can be really frustrating? The Quilter Select rulers have this great coating across the entire back of them, designed to make your ruler stick to your fabric. Look at this. It holds it in place, which is awesome as I'm doing things like fussy cutting that we like to do lots of times for English paper piecing. I can get my ruler down on here and move this to an angle that is comfortable for me to cut at. So for right now, it's this kind of funky angle based on how I'm sitting. And then I can take my rotary cutter. I've got my Quilter Select rotary cutter here, and I can cut. And with just a little bit of pressure, I can spin around the piece that I'm doing. So imagine squaring up your quilt blocks this way and not needing one of those special weird rotational mats, because you can just easily twist and turn on here as you go. So pretty cool how those work together. And I love this, just kind of in reference to the size of this little template. Like basically it's almost exactly what I need to cut out to make, this is a template to make 1-inch hexagons with 3/8-inch seams, just that I had in my collection. But like it's almost the perfect size to do that. Like that would be a great way to figure out where the center of my fabric is, to know what it is that I would be working with. So that one is one that I keep close at hand. So works best with the Quilter Sledge mats because these are nice and smooth. They don't have those little bumpies on them, which allows you to easily slide around. Now I've used these on some of my other mats too that aren't Quilter Select, and they do still work, but these work the best as you are, going around. So let's look at some of the different hexagon projects that I've got here for you, because hexagons can go so many different ways. We've got the traditional grandmother's flower garden here, and you know what, maybe this is even easier if I just stay close up so you can see these each individually. So these, all of the hexagons, traditionally you would take the 2 hexagons that you wanted to put together and you would probably fold them so the right sides were together. And then we would hand sew this together with a little ladder stitch. And then you would open it up and you would add another one on. And again, you would do a ladder stitch, and then you'd kind of close it and pull it around and do another one. And then traditionally, all of this paper here has to be pulled out later. Well, since this is partially water soluble, we do not need to remove the print and piece fused light, which means I can do something like my grandmother's flower garden here and make it go nice and quick. I actually just took and used some sticky tape. I used some of my Stitch Perfection tape, which is the 2-sided sticky needle-friendly tape, and just took and put it on the back of my hexagon, peeled off that release liner. Always tear this stuff. It just makes it easier to get back off. And then I aligned these together how I wanted them to be and just kind of stuck it down to my project. And then it allowed me to take just my top fabric and my hexagons that I've got arranged in place and stitch them down using my sewing machine. Yes, seriously, my sewing machine. Look at the little, blanket stitched edge on there. These, I did the blanket stitch the entire way around. You could go with that little stitch that goes like one direction and then the other direction, that kind of, blanket stitch that splits center if you've got everything ready to go in order to do this. So no hand sewing. And you can do that because of the print and piece fused light. It is going to be super soft once you are done. You could not do that with something that had those cardboard templates in it that you're supposed to pull out if you had sewn through them this way. It would just not work. So it gives you the ability to do things on, items like this, where you've got, lots of different ones put together. You could even go bigger. Quilted jackets became popular a couple years ago again, and it doesn't look like there's any chance of those slowing down in popularity right away. So we actually did a quilted jacket with hexagons. And you know what? Let me show it to you here on the screen first so you can see the entire thing, as opposed to me just trying to hold this up and show you bits and pieces of it, because I can't quite get it all Tetrised up here in just one picture here. So here we go. Here is a picture of it for you. So this was a ton of fun to make. So if I zoom in here, you can see that there are individual hexagons on there. And I actually used my embroidery machine in order to put those all in place. So you could sew them down however you wanted it to be, but for me, that was just the way I wanted to do it. I used my tape again, stuck them in place so that way they wouldn't shift on me. And of course, I have to show you the jacket in real time because pictures are great in order to see everything overall and whatnot. But there's just something about, someone holding something up and you being able to, see it kind of as we're, going along here. The back might be easier because then you're not looking at the lining too, about the jacket. So I just kind of put these randomly spaced in little clumps of, 3 to 5. And then I repeated those embroidery designs to fill up some of my extra space. One of the common questions I get when I show this jacket to people is, Ashley, did you make an entire quilt and then cut it apart for the jacket? And the answer is no. I sat down and tried to do the math to figure out what size quilt I needed to make in order to make the jacket. I was planning on making it for me. It does fit me. I wish I would have sized up probably about 2 more sizes. I didn't take into account the fact that there wasn't quite as much ease in the pattern as what I would have liked. But I did lay out my fabric and kind of like rough trace the pattern pieces on it. So that way, when I appliqued the hexagons down, I made mini quilts, and I was only working with, an arm at a time. So I made, 2 little arm quilts. I made a quilt for the front on the left and the front on the right and the back on the left and the right, and then put it all together with the little, mini whole cloth quilts that I made just using, the embroidery patterns that I came up with for the cuffs and whatnot. So, there's more than one way to do something. I'm a big fan of making your project work for you. So for me, it made more sense to make my quilted coat in individual mini quilts rather than trying to do the math and go, wait, I have to make one big quilt. And now how do I get all those pieces Tetrised out of it? Plus, it was a lot smaller pieces to work with as I was creating it. Done exactly the same way, those hexagons just appliqued on to the top. And I know it's kind of an abstract concept when I'm saying you're literally just appliquing the hexagons to the top of the fabric. And how does it get so soft? What in the world is that like? So let me show you the inside of one of these pieces. Traditionally, we don't cut open our quilts when we're finished with them. We get something, it's finished, and we're like, oh, it's wonderful. It's amazing. You've got backing and batting on it, and there's no way to get to what is inside of there. So here, I actually only put backing and batting on half of it. Hence the reason there's a line down the middle. So when I flip it over, you can see the fabric that was just for the top. And this white fluffy stuff here, this is what print and fuse light looks like after it has been laundered. So it goes from being that nice, solid, white piece that has the, thickness to it. We can easily turn these edges behind and have nice, pretty corners and whatnot to being just this. Imagine all the time you'll save not having to pull all of the papers out when you're done. Just put it together and stitch it however in the world you want it to be. Now, maybe you're not in love of the look of having that little bit of, thread that's peeking from one side to the next with a blanket stitch. You could go with an invisible thread in order to make that easier. You could even maybe elect to sew the hexagons together before you turn the edges. Wait, what? Yeah. Have you ever had a quilt pattern before where maybe you have a Y seam in play? Yeah, you can sew hexagons together using the same technique. Skip the glue stick. Just take your pieces. This time, you're going to align them together and you're going to sew them on your sewing machine. So I would take them. I've got essentially my edges drawn in there. You're probably going to want a pin or two for this technique. So that way you can line up a seam here where you start on one side, figure out where that pin needs to go through on the second side, and get them aligned together. And I would probably pin the one on the other side here. And then you would just sew right along that seam with your sewing machine, not even necessarily by hand. I did do an entire piece this way, piecing it all together. And let me show you what that looked like. Let me show you what it looked like before. So let me share my screen with you again. And I have to click the button in order for that to work. Still haven't come proficient at that. And, you know, the last 20 minutes would be great if I had. So oh, not that one right there, but we want, oh, there was where I was making my jacket. There's our quilted coat. So it must be this window right here. There we go. So this piece is all pieced together. The back side of it, you can actually see my seams there where I sewed these traditionally. And when you stop right before your end, you know, you're not sewing clear to the edge like you do with Y seams. So you're able to pinwheel those little corners out. So you can kind of see over here where I got off just a little bit there, but you know, that worked in order to do it. And then before I appliqued this down to my larger piece of fabric, I went ahead and folded back my edges and glued them down with my glue stick. Now, this particular one, I went a little bit out there with it, and I did this funky kind of honeycomb onto some cork. This would have been a great opportunity for me to have, you know, used my Ultra T-feet in order to stitch this down. So that way they glided over the cork really nicely. And I didn't have to worry about any, you know, sticking as I was going along. I made this before we had the Ultra T-feet. They're still pretty new for us. And I know lots of you got in on those when I was here a couple of weeks ago. I'm hoping, you know, you are loving those now. I know I am. And I just went and stitched along the outside edge here with just a straight stitch in order to hold this in place. Added a little bit of batting in here and a back and just did some fun little stitching around the edge. I need to get this one finished off and get it bound so it can be a great little mini quilt. But, you know, right now it's just kind of a fun little piece and a great way that I can show you. You can sew your hexagons together before you put them on the background too. So there's just lots of different ways that you can use hexagons and go with them and really explore them. Now, I did save my favorite English paper piecing project for last. Yeah, I know my projects don't necessarily look a lot like the traditional, what we're expecting, one next to the other, next to the other. I love the look of negative space myself. And this was a really fun one that I did. This was actually, believe it or not, my very first English paper piecing project. So you don't always have to start small, just start somewhere. Isn't this cool? All of these little hexagons were made this way. They were made with this same technique. It's really just a great way to do needle turn applique, and we're applying it to English paper piecing, taking something that's traditionally a lot of hand sewing and making it a little bit more different and modern. This way here, I actually attached all of the hexagons to the top of this just by quilting them in place. I know that sounds really weird, but I didn't use my tape to stick them on. I didn't use pins or anything. And no, I didn't spend the time cross-hatching each and every one of them individually. I went in to my embroidery toolbox and was looking at my stabilizers because I was trying to figure out a way that I was going to get all of these pieces attached and not have them go anywhere. And I remembered that I had Wet and Gone Tacky. So Wet and Gone Tacky is sticky but water-soluble stabilizer from Floriani. It's designed to go in your hoop. You score the top of it and then you place fabric on top of it and maybe do like cut work or over the edge work, those kind of things. But instead, I took the release paper off of this and put it over the top of the hexagons on my project and made a little hexagon sandwich. And then when I had that sandwich made with the wet and gone tacky, the hexagons I had English paper pieced, and the background fabric, this great black batik here, I went ahead and added my batting and my back fabric and quilted through all of it. And then when I was done, I washed it and the wet and gone tacky went away, leaving all of my hexagons quilted in place. So cool technique, kind of a different way that we don't necessarily think about it. In theory, I have a cute little, there we go, little sandwich of these here that I can show you just so you can see what it looks like a little bit closer. So I took and laid out, let me fold this quilt here so it fits underneath the camera and doesn't knock everything off the table in the process. There we go. So I laid all of these out on the background fabric. And once they were laid out, I got my wet and gone tacky and I pulled off that release liner. That just left me with the sticky side here of my wet and gone tacky that I stuck over top of all of these hexagons. And that got me to this point right here, where the hexagons are held down by that wet and gone tacky to just the fabric. Just that, look at that. Like there's still free floating fabric back there behind. And then I added my backing and my batting and I quilted. And in the case of the quilt itself, I gave it a quarter turn and quilted back the other direction again. And after that was all done, it took a trip in the washing machine in order to rinse away all of my wet and gone tacky. Now you do need to know wet and gone tacky requires soft water to go away. So if you have hard water like I have here in Ohio, you might need to invest in a little bottle of some Calgon in laundry water softener in order to make that dissolve away really well. I just keep a little bottle of it on the shelf with my laundry supplies for when I'm doing projects with my wet and gone tacky. But the cool thing is it doesn't hurt the rest of the project. It's great to go and it gives you some really cool results, you know, as you're doing things. I can't even begin to think about the amount of time that it would have taken me to sew down each and every single one of these hexagons by themselves. Actually, that's wrong. I know how long it would have taken me. It would have taken me at least a week because another educator made a quilt this exact same way, but she sewed down and appliqued on all of her hexagons to her background. It took her a week, 5 whole days. That was all she did was applique hexagons in place. No way. This, including the quilting and everything, probably took me about 5 or 6 hours. Of course, it's going to vary depending on how, you know, you're quilting, be doing it on a domestic or a long arm. I did mine on my long arm just because it was accessible and another way that I could do it. So one other thing I'm thinking that could be helpful, because I know you're like, okay, Ashley, it's a really great technique, but I still kind of want to sew them together by hand. So I do recommend some clips in order to help keep your groups together before you sew them, and even to hold things together as you're sewing them. So these are the Quilter Select clips. They are a little bit wider clip than the traditional clip, and I love them in that they're a little bit bigger, and it sounds really kind of silly, but they have an overbite, or maybe it's an underbite, but the ends of these do not meet up exactly perfectly. There's a little bit of overhang on that one side. So when I clip this into something, it kind of clips and holds and almost like locks that in place. So not only are these great when I'm holding together, bundles of English paper piecing pieces that I'm working on, or, maybe holding individual pieces together as I'm, getting started and getting going. But when I finish out that project and I want to put my binding on, these are a wonderful way that once I've sewn my binding to the first side, I can pull it around and kind of clip it in place. And if I wedge that little overbite there into the ditch, it kind of helps to pull it back and out of the way as I'm working on my different things to go along with it. So, do we have a bundle to go for English paper piecing? I think I heard something about there was a bundle of some of these like essential supplies that we needed to get going.
Yes, Ashley, we do have a bundle. We've actually named it the Hexi bundle. I'm so glad you actually addressed too that they can do it by hand. I know we sell sewing machines here and everybody loves to sew, but you can't bring your sewing machine with you. And that's what a lot of people have been saying, that why they love the Hexi so much. They love not only the look, but also something that they can bring with them. So, on their trips, or, if they're staying at the coast or what have you. So anyway, yeah, we have a Hexi bundle. And then you want to go ahead and put that up on the screen? Okay, perfect. And in this Hexi bundle, you're going to get the brand new 9 by
9 by 12.
9 by 12. That's an awesome size to put next to
Isn't
your.
it?
That's really cool. You're going to get that's a Quilter Select. All of these are Quilter Select products by Alex Anderson. You're also going to get the clips. If you want to hold up the clips real quick, the quick clips. Those are what makes those special from any of the other quick clips, because I know that they talked about that in one of our events before.
Yeah, so when you get these out and start playing with them, they have at the end here, they have an overbite to them. So whereas most clips, we think about them and they just meet up end to end, the one side actually comes over the other one. And it's really cool that it's got that overbite because it kind of like locks into what your project is. It's just like I was telling them, when I put on binding, like it's epic for that. And for here, it's nice just to keep all of my pieces together. But yeah, it's that overbite that makes these unique.
Nice. And no shifting. So that's really good. So you're going to get the clips. Hold up your next item. Print the fusible printing piece.
Yep.
Okay. By Alex Anderson again.
Yep.
And can you print the hexagons on that as well? So
absolutely.
So if you didn't have the template, you could just run that through your printer and you could print them on there.
Yes, and a little tip for anyone that's out there searching for a template of hexagons, there are lots of free ones out there. Some of them, like the little hexagons, are like nested together. Download the template, not where they're nested, but where they're like in rows. That way, when you go to cut it, you can just cut, the top, the bottom, the top, the bottom, and then just kind of go back and forth on those edges, as opposed to having to clip out all of those little hexagons as you go.
Yes. Excellent tip. Love it. You're going to get, what else are they getting? Oh, the glue stick. Yes. We love those glue sticks. Yes. The neon color. Yes. Excellent. And they really do stick, which is good. It's a fabric glue stick.
Yeah. So even think about it for things like gluing the points together on your traditional pieced blocks. We try to get those points to match up. Don't be afraid to put a little dot of glue there so they're exactly where they're going to be. And it's not like pinning it where you got to pull the pin out. And does it shift in those 2 stitches you take? Glue it in place so it doesn't shift.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. What else are they getting? Oh,
the 2.5-inch square.
Excellent demo on the Quilter Select rulers. I love those rulers. We carry them in every single size. And I have always loved the fact that it grips the fabric so well that you can actually turn it and turn it. Turn it. I love that. And just go ahead and cut your little hexes or your squares right out just like that. They need a hexagon one.
I know. We need some different shapes. I don't know. If enough of us ask.
Yes, that would be awesome, huh? So see, this is how we get new things. We just talk about it. But you have from that size all the way up to what, a 20 by 20?
18 by 18.
18 by 18? Yeah, big enough, right? And
yes.
We do all of them. We love them. And they even have the long arm rulers as well, too. So they're just fantastic rulers. So they get that one. And what else?
I think that's our bundle.
That's our bundle. All that little stuff right there that would total $90.95. And in the sale, if you buy it this weekend, today or through this weekend, you're going to get all of that for $59.99. Really good deal, huh? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can't go off without saying today how popular these feet are. And you just showed another example to us of how great these feet are to work on with your Hexis and paper. Because we know you think of vinyl, you think of faux leather, you think of even just piecing with different types of mediums, and you have the 1/4 inch foot in there. These are awesome. And guess what? Floriani allowed me to offer this again during this segment. They're normally $100. You can get them for $50, and you're getting all 3 feet. They work for the brothers and the baby locks, because the baby locks are made by the brother. So you're getting the end foot, the J foot, and the 1/4 inch foot, all for $50
And free shipping.
$49.99 and free shipping. Yeah, because $49 and over gets you free shipping at Authorized Vacuum Sew. So you can purchase them in the store. I have to tell you, right after the segment, I had people coming straight to our store to come get these feet because they were afraid that we were going to sell out of them because they were local. So got another shipment. We did sell out of them, but we got another shipment of them. And we can definitely offer that same pricing to you if you're just tuning in to this episode and didn't see the last episode. Go back and look at all the episodes because they're so good and so informational. Your last stabilizer education was just fantastic. We're so glad to have you. Yeah. So anyway, so these are called the So Fine Ultra Glide. I just made that up. So Fine Ultra Glide foot set, $50. It's on our website. Just click on the link. Everything's there, authorizedvacuumsew.com. And make sure before we end this segment that you type in the comments, thumbs up. That way you're going to be entered to win the drawing for this awesome scissor set. And if you don't win this scissor set, it's on sale on our website for $80 right now. So, but if you are the lucky winner, you are going to be really happy you won. Okay. And what I'm going to do is everybody's missing my sidekick right now. They're missing her right now. Her name is Barbie, but I call her Ethel, and sometimes I'm Lucy. And we decided that she's Ethel because she's really the smarter one, and I'm Lucy because I'm wild. So anyway, I got to be Lucy. So I'm going to go right now, and I want to thank you so much for being here. And she's going to come on, and we're going to do that drawing right now. See if you can win. Okay. Good luck, everyone.
Everyone, Tony here at Authorized Vacuum Sew. First and foremost, I'd like to apologize for the interruption of our weekly segment, Thumbs Up Thursday. We're currently facing technical difficulties with our internet provider. Unfortunately, Ashley and Veronica had to step away, but luckily for you, we always record our live segments. The video will be up here shortly after this live is over, so make sure you stay tuned. You can watch this segment either on our website, our YouTube channel, or on social media. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, thumbs up, and share it with all your family and friends. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the fun activities here at Authorized Vacuum Sew. I will be announcing our 2 winners here shortly, but before that, I'd like to kind of show you today's bundle known as the Hexi bundle. This Hexi bundle is everything that you need to, what, Erlene?
To English paper piece.
To English paper piece. So first we have our Quilter Select fabric glue stick here. Next we have our Quilter Select 9x12 cutting mat, followed by our Quilter Select quilting clips, which comes in a 36 pack, followed by the Quilter Select 2.5x2.5 ruler, and finally we have the Select Print and Piece Fuse Light. So this bundle retails for
$90.95.
So almost $100, but Authorized Vacuum Sew has it on sale through Sunday for just
$59.99.
$59.99, and you do get free shipping on this Hexi bundle. Next, I like to show you our Floriani Educator's tool set, which will also be given to today's Thumbs Up Thursday segment winner. Okay,
So that one is $139.99, and we have it for $97.99.
$97.99. Same thing, you will get free shipping on that, so order yours today. Next, I'd like to talk about a product that has been requested by many of you. Last, we had this product on sale. When we showed it, it sold out in a couple of hours. So I'm pleased to let you know that we just got a shipment of this So Fine Ultra foot set for the brother and baby lock machines. These feet retail at $100, but it's currently on sale for $49.99. So you can receive all of these products or just one of them, and you get that free shipping anywhere in the United States. We also have the option for local pickup for any of our local customers. You can get this today if you place that order. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and be announcing our winner for
The person that shared our video last time.
That's right, and our winner is, drum roll please,
Regina Rooks.
Regina Rooks. All right, congratulations, Ms. Regina Rooks. We'll contact you shortly after this live video is over. Perfect. All right, so finally that brings us to today's winner for commenting that Thumbs Up Thursday. The winner will receive this Floriani Educator's tool set. Now remember, even if you don't win, all of these products are available for purchase on our website. The links will be provided in the video description. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this live drawing, and we'll see who the winner is.
Emma Mireles.
All right, congratulations, Emma Mireles. Same thing, Miss Emma, if you want to contact us. If not, we'll send you a message here shortly. Congratulations. Once again, thank you so much for your understanding, for your patience, and for your support.
Yes, the video will be available shortly, so make sure you go watch that if you want to learn more about how to use the bundle.
Awesome. Don't forget to comment that thumbs up. Take care, guys. We'll see you guys next week.